Hi, friends. Welcome back to Live at the Roxy, where I just noticed how much tanner I look in that photo than Jet and how pale I look right now. My brother Jet Stryer in the house. Hi, Jet.
Hi. Well, you always look tanner than me, at least, though.
Yeah, but right now it's like barely. By the way, when I say Jet Stryer in the house, I mean his own house. We are in separate houses, same city right now. It is truly bizarro, but that is... I guess the slogan of the show during quarantine that I've started, I don't know why I've never said this before quarantine, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. That seems to be something I just cannot stop saying. So
yes, that is a slogan that you came up with.
I'm not saying I came up with it. I'm saying the slogan that I've been using on this show. I keep putting the mug on Dad's desk and then it keeps making these rings and I'm just trying to scrub that one out right now.
Oops.
But it was already here before I got here.
There is already like a couple rings on there.
I didn't do that. I'm going to put this on top. Should I put it in his ashtray? Oh, no. He has a note. He has a note card that says, I don't want to read out loud what it says on it. What's going on?
I do notice that you've been using the same mug every single day you've been home. Is there a reason for that?
I have not been.
You have been using a Tinkerbell mug every single time I've seen you. Super
duper not true. I have used a Tinkerbell mug a lot. There's about 4 mugs that I keep using.
They're all Tinkerbell mugs?
No. Go back on my show. Literally, there's video evidence that I haven't. I have used the Tinkerbell mug the last 3 days in a row, though. I like this one a lot.
Because it's Tinkerbell or because of the liquid holding capability?
Are you going to let me run the show or do you want to talk about Tinkerbell for the next hour? Ooh. Either one. All right, and then he dead aired me and went completely silent.
Opening show banter.
Well, we have a lot to talk about on the show today, actually. No time for banter. Harry Styles is bringing back manly men. What does that mean? Don't worry, I'll explain it all to you. I have a brother who probably knows no idea what that's referring to, so I'm gonna have to explain it to him also. But something that my brother definitely knows about is Star Wars. Did you hear this Anakin story this morning?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm excited to talk about that. Ryan Johnson was opening up about The Last Jedi, and he is speaking about the fact that Anakin could have been in The Last Jedi instead of Yoda. There were a couple other tidbits he mentioned that I wanted to break down as well. Also, Wonder Woman's going to be the first movie coming to HBO Max in 4K. Is that important to me in any way? No, but the internet seems to be really excited about 4K. I didn't even really know what 4K was until a month ago when... Whatever, it's a long story. Obama was speaking out, and this is getting the world of political news, and I actually have no idea how my brother feels about this. It'll be interesting to talk about. He is saying that he was speaking out not against defunding the police, against the saying defund the police. He is cautioning people against saying that it could be sending mixed messages and not be getting the right message across. So we can break that down, all that and more, plus what you guys are talking about in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Or right here in the super chat. Thank you guys all for joining us today at this random ass time. I know I've been going up at random times every day. I'm aware. I know that it is currently 3:00 on the East Coast, and that's not even a time that I've done yet so far, but it just sometimes happens. I was up last night until about 6 a.m. doing World Girls stuff. We're so excited for tonight's episode for World Girls, but more so about our calendar shoot. We just had a lot of work to do. So it was a late one. And then this morning, I didn't want to go up against SEN and those whole things. So here we are now. Hi. Are you still with me?
Oh, I was just, letting the host run the show. That's all I was doing.
Oh, man. Okay. This is going to be really fun, I'm sure. Let's see what's going on in the Streamlabs. What?
I was going to say, the World Girls calendar, I got a quick sneak preview of a couple of pictures, and they're hysterical and amazing, so people should be excited about it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. The last night editing them, we were on actually StreamYards with Steph, D, Frank, and I. It is like not any of our forte. It is excruciating editing photos and like photoshopping them. The fun part was actually taking them, but now actually going through them and changing around backgrounds and whatever, and every inch that you move and cutting them out and whatever. It just was so time consuming, and we're not even close to done. So these calendars are coming.
But will it be worth it?
Probably not, honestly. We're probably going to make zero profit.
Good
on
attitude.
To be perfectly honest, I think we're probably going to make about 50 cents per calendar and probably sell about 25 of them. So seems.
I will buy one.
Will you?
Support the brand.
All right. Well,
I want to make a quick point before we get into all the stuff.
Okay.
I really, really like how my facial hair looks today.
I'm glad to hear that.
Just an aside. I'm really happy about it. It
You know,
looks
just
very
made an
good
appearance
today.
on the show and you don't even know about it. Dad just popped in the office to grab a very inconspicuous bag. I don't know what was in it. He just reached in, grabbed a duffel bag, and left.
Cash.
Hopefully. I like your facial hair as well, actually.
It just
There you
happens. There's, like there's good hair days. There's also for men, there's very good facial hair days too.
Oh, did you think I didn't understand what you were talking about?
It's possible.
Like you needed to just explain to me what facial hair
Well,
was?
you don't have facial hair. Well, that I know of.
I have some. I don't do anything with it though. A lot of girls shave or wax or whatever their facial hair. I don't touch it, but I do have like baby face hairs.
Do you ever get like little like witches hairs like on the bottom of your, like some witches have like little scruff on the bottom of their chins?
No, but I have a mole right here and it does grow like 3 chin hairs. And then I also have one hair that grows right here.
Just one.
Yeah, one. It's gone right now though. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to answer your question. Let's go into the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/RoxyStryer. All right, what's going on in here? What's today? The 2nd of December. Damn, we are into this month now. Morse code Z in the Streamlabs said, part 1 of 2. I couldn't respond during yesterday's show, but while I think spouses that didn't get in trouble should be blacklisted for being too cowardly to stand with their significant others, I don't really think actual jail time is the answer for their crimes. So this is Morse code talking about William H. Macy in regards to the Felicity Huffman situation and how William H. Macy did not get any time for a situation that Felicity Huffman did. Morse code also goes on to say part 2 of 2 should have received community service equal to hours from a commuted jail sentence. Also, they needed to set up annual scholarship minimums, what they spent cheating their kids into college, maximum percentage of income till college is free, so keep them working. Well, they definitely didn't have to do that, and now it does seem like nothing's going to happen to William H. Macy, not even in the court of public opinion, and that Felicity Huffman's back to work, so this will seem like a little 11-day jail stint drop in the bucket to them years down the line, I believe. Jet, any thoughts on this situation?
I think that maybe when we did an earlier show, like when the trial was ongoing, I said this, but if not, I think that the fact that either Felicity Huffman or Becky from whose name I don't remember from Full House going to jail for this is ridiculous.
Lori Loughlin.
I get that they did something wrong and they should pay with their celebrity and pay with their pocketbooks. But there's just too many people going to prison or jail in this country for stupid, non-violent reasons. So I inherently disagree with it.
You actually believe the opposite of what most people feel. Most people feel she, or at least on this show, that she should have gotten more jail time, but should be allowed to work afterwards. You actually feel it was her career that should have suffered, not her actually going to prison.
Well, yeah, to an extent, but I mean more like using her celebrity to promote scholarship or promote something like that. Yes, I think that it would be fair to have your career somewhat impacted by that because it's you used your career and your celebrity to your advantage. So if we're going by that punishment fits the crime sort of thing, that makes sense to me. I just in general think that people shouldn't go to prison or to jail for inherently non-violent crimes.
Equally as important of a comment coming in from Scott Lee while I'm online with my brother. I'm so happy about this, Scott. Thanks for doing this. Roxy, please do OnlyFans. Jet, care to respond?
$5 poorly spent, Scott. She's never doing it because if I ever found out she would, I would smash all of her computers.
Really? I feel like that's so unlike you.
I would be uncomfortable with it. I mean, listen, you can do whatever you want to make money. I wouldn't say you can't do it, but I wouldn't be happy about it.
Well, I wouldn't, if you said I couldn't,
very
I wouldn't
uncomfortable.
listen to you anyway. That's very non-progressive of you.
It's less about people doing OnlyFans, specifically about you doing OnlyFans.
I know. I'm just saying.
Because I
had no intention on doing it, and I now feel like I need to.
No. Here's the thing. Like I said before, when we were talking about Bella Thorne months ago.
Your social contracting is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Social contract.
Like the most white dude privilege.
It's not though, because if you're signing up for OnlyFans, if you are creating an OnlyFans account and making people pay for it.
That's like saying when you wear a short skirt that you're asking for it. Like
no, it's not, because you're not saying
man privileged, ridiculous.
No. If you're not, that's like what she was doing is like saying, hey, guess what I'm wearing? Pay $5 a month to find out. There's a social contract implied.
There's not a social contract if you tell exactly what you're doing. If you say you're going to be naked, then that's a social contract. If you say I'm not going to be naked, this is a website I'm using.
Being on a website that most people post naked content on and then charging for that content implies
the most privileged comment ever. So privileged and so obnoxious.
You should give all for the money back. All the money back.
You are outrageous. It's not about Bella Thorne. It's about your opinion on OnlyFans. Spidey Sensei says, do an Only Feet and make bank of all the simps, Roxy. Get that money in 2021. I'm not
Is Only Feet a thing?
I don't think so. I don't believe so.
They should make it.
Let's go into the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. LD in the house. LD says, hey, coach, happy December. The troupe and I just got done performing for a group of Shakespeare experts from my state. Most of them were really nice, but one only said negative things. I was kind of hurt by that. He didn't have a single nice thing to say. Is that normal for someone to only point out the negative? He was the third person to comment. So do you think maybe he did not want to repeat what the others said? By the way, I still look sexy as fuck in my Juliet outfit, and I think I always need to wear something that makes my chest look so great. Romeo and I had another nice meal. He didn't try to pull any moves on me, but he did rub my feet for a little because these shoes suck. I saw Eric's mom, and I just gave her a hug, and we cried together. I miss him. Love. Oh, love to you, LD, and shout out to Nation ZZZ. I'm glad that you saw his mom. I hope she's doing okay. I'm sure she's not, but we're thinking about her and you and all of the people who love Nation ZZZ, Eric, all the rock stars. Going back to the question, is it normal for a judge to only give negative feedback? I think about like anything like American Idol. This might be before your time, LD. This might be before your time because you are 18, so maybe you weren't familiar with Randy, Paula, and Simon, but the original American Idol judges, as Jet knows as well, one of them was super, super sweet. Everything she said was only a compliment. One was somewhere in the middle, and one was a complete ass about all of the responses. And it's all different styles of coaching. Some people like tough love. Some people just want the criticism because what does the praise really do for them in terms of performances? So I think it's just some judge's style. What do you think, Jet?
What would you be? Which of those?
Can you answer my question?
My style. What do you think?
What do you think of the judge that gave her only negative criticism? Do you feel like that person was only and I'm asking you to answer
it's impossible to say because I didn't see the performance. Like maybe she was great and then the judge was just being a dick. Maybe the judge was the only person willing to be honest. It's kind of hard to tell without seeing the performance.
I highly doubt that, LD, that judge was the only person willing to be honest. We know that you
I don't know. I didn't
know that you continue to get cast over and over again. And I know that that wouldn't happen if you didn't have the talent. So it could just be one person's opinion, or he could really be trying to make you the best version of you that you could be. Don't worry, my brother's an ass. You're still talented.
I'm sure she's great. You're Paula. I'm closer to Simon.
I'm not Paula. That's the first time.
You're being very Paula.
All right, going into Glenn Caesar in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Glenn Caesar says, hello and good afternoon, Roxy and Jet. As always, thanks for taking the time to hang out with us today. I hope you and the rock stars all have a love and laughter-filled rest of your World Girl Wednesday. Peace, love, bunnies, and hugs. To you both and all the rock stars, remember, everyone, you're kind, you're smart, you're important, you are worthy. Again, I know it might be tough, but even if we're by ourselves, we're not alone. The rock stars and world friends communities will be there for you today and every day. Hashtag smash cancer. And once again, to keep the daily reminders going, Miles Cosgrove, Brett Hankinson, Jonathan Mattingly, rest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor, all three of them for killing Breonna Taylor. Absolutely, Glenn Caesar, thank you for reminding us of that. Roxanne Jett, I don't know if you've heard it by now, but if not, what are your thoughts / feelings on Hailee Steinfeld being cast as Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series on Disney+? There's a new video showing her filming alongside Jeremy Renner in New York. Jet, what are your thoughts?
I don't think that Disney's made an official announcement that she's been cast as Kate Bishop. I think a lot of people have speculated, and there's been she's been spotted on sets.
It's just speculation. It's not official, but
she does. I know a lot of people love that idea of casting, and she's been sort of a dream cast for Kate Bishop since the character really came out. So I like I think she's a very good actress. I don't think she's going to be singing in the Hawkeye series, which seems to be the career she's been focused on more recently. So we'll see if she can do more of an action sort of thing. The first time I saw her was in True Grit. I think that was her first movie. And
did you see Edge of 17?
I did. I think she's really good. So I would like her in that role. I think Hawkeye having a miniseries is perfect for the character because he hasn't really had that much to do in the movies compared to the other Avengers. So I'm excited. She's a great character, and it seems to me like Disney's plan is probably, if I had to guess, Hawkeye either dying at the end of that series or retiring at the end of that series, and then Kate Bishop being an Avenger and maybe Hailee Steinfeld appearing in some of the movies. That's my best guess. So I'm down with it. I think it's great, and I think that if they're going to adapt the comic book arc of Kate Bishop, that it will translate really well to everything Marvel does. I think is pretty spot on. So it's hard to question them at this point.
I think it's great casting. I think that she would be a perfect Kate Bishop. I love Hailee Steinfeld. I think she's one of the most talented young actresses working today. And I would love to see this, but I also know that sometimes the fans predict something wrong. So I'm trying not to get my hopes up as well. But thank you for the question, Glenn Caesar. Really appreciate it. Staying in the Streamlabs, Texas Teacher. Hi, Texas Teacher, who lets us know that he's still clean and sober. Thank you, Texas Teacher. I'm so glad to hear that. Glad to see your brothers joining you again. I wasn't being rude by not giving any compliments. I explained when giving criticism, I'm only going to point out things that need to be fixed. I wasn't trying to be rude. Sorry, LD. Texas Teacher, you were the judge for LD's competition? Wow. Shocked to hear that. But again, I don't think that it's rude. I think that it can be very challenging for an 18-year-old girl who's coming up to be hearing all the negative criticism without one positive thing. Then Texas said, as for her outfit, I don't feel comfortable commenting on her. I will say Julia is supposed to be 13, so maybe a bit too much in that department, but never going to yuck a yum. Tomorrow I get tested at work for COVID after a huge breakout of kids. Wow, Texas Teacher, I'm hoping that you're okay. I wasn't lying. I wasn't trying to be a dick, Jet, says Texas Teacher. Teacher, I didn't realize that you were finally judging LD. I knew that we had talked about the Shakespeare situation, but I didn't know that you were one of the judge. LD, were you aware that was Texas Teacher? Pretty unbelievable.
So one of your rock stars was judging another one of your rock stars in a Shakespeare competition.
That's what it seems like. We know that Texas Teacher
small world
does. Yeah, it's less small of a world than you think, but also smaller in some ways. Texas Teacher, I would go with the compliment sandwich mentality. I'm bad at this as well, as even though Jack just called me a Paula, I've been known my whole life to be a Simon. I believe that you are able to get across your points stronger and clearer when you let them feel like they're in a safe space. So sometimes that means compliment, letting them know what they can grow on, and then ending with the compliment as well. That is the compliment sandwich. But interesting, as the plot thickens, you guys keep us posted how that goes. Simply Emily in the super chat says the most important part of the leaked footage on the Hawkeye set is seeing Pizza Dog. So pumped. I don't know about the most important part of the leaked footage, but I feel you, Simply Emily, and I'm glad that you're excited. I'm excited to just have good movies and television come to the screen again, so that will be fun. And I love Hawkeye.
Yeah, another thing again when it's a leak footage and stuff like that, it's good to get excited, but also, if people are like, oh my god, if Pizza Dog's in this, or like Kate Bishop's being played by Hailee Steinfeld, like, reserve your enthusiasm until there's a confirmation. I don't know. I mean, until there's confirmation of one thing or another, I think that, like you said earlier, people rumors start spreading like wildfire and casting stuff like that, and then if it doesn't come true, people are already disappointed before the product even comes out.
Texas teacher in the Streamlabs comes back towards us and says, LD, you did a great job in Juliet. The few notes I gave you were some things I think you could do to make it best way to play the role. You had one of the best deaths I've seen in 15 years. I was also the third one and don't like to repeat. Okay, well, problem solved there, LD. I hope you take that and that helps you. And Texas teacher, thank you for clarifying. Appreciate you taking the time to do so. Very, very sweet of you. And thank you to our amazing moderator, Jake Yakavetta, in the chat right now saying, please don't forget to hit that like button, share, subscribe if you haven't. Absolutely very important for this show. We are down subscribers. We're down likes. We're down views. We're down. So let's raise those up by doing everything.
Oh, shit. Why?
I talk about it on the show all the time. If you listened, you would know. The algorithm is going to be much appreciated and happy or growing if you guys do what you can to like the video, comment, subscribe, all of that great stuff.
When you were overrun with Nazis in your chat, do those get are those views for you?
Yes.
So that ultimately it kind of helped you.
Okay.
Like their plan backfired.
Word. Yes, another thing that I did mention that show as well to them. True. All right. We will go back. That's my baby dog. We will go back to the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/RoxyStar in a little bit, but I want to talk about some of these hot topics that are going on air. You guys know how much I love saying the word topic on this show. Harry Styles is bringing back manly men. Jet, do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Yes, and you inferred that I didn't. So in your face, he
what's happening?
A dress on a cover of Vanity Fair.
Continue.
Is that the right magazine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro were like, retake masculinity. This is why men aren't masculine anymore. Blah 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 blah, and other people came to the defense of Harry Styles being like, your definition of masculinity is whatever you want it to be. Harry Styles, good on you. Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, you're idiots.
Great. So that was last week.
Did I get the story correct?
Great. That was last week. What happened today?
He brought back manly men. He did it. He succeeded finally.
This is what Harry Styles posted today. This is a picture of him eating a banana.
Yeah.
And the caption reads, "Bring back manly men," as the biggest fuck you of all time to Candace Owens, which was awesome.
And Ben Shapiro. Don't forget to
Well, Ben Shapiro wasn't the one who said about manly men.
But he deserves to be dragged too.
I drag him on the
Ben Shapiro
all the time. He is really, really a phenomenal human being. I'm talking about Harry Styles. I'm learning to love him more and more every day, even though I don't listen to his music much. I love everything that he posts about how he gets his revenge, which is by success. I'm super duper into Harry Styles' response here. And then it didn't stop there because Candace Owens just can't let things go. She's a nightmare, an absolute nightmare.
Yep. Terrible person.
And she was tweeted at by somebody named Frangal Basura, who is apparently verified on Twitter with 410 followers. You always wonder how that happens. But
yeah, what?
I don't know. But he is. And he said, in regards to Candace, she sounds like a fan. Unfortunately, her hateful comments are inspiring violence against gender non-conforming people, and it is atrocious. That isn't something to be proud of, at Real Candace O. It isn't a discussion when people's safety and lives are put at risk, which Candace Owens retweeted or quote tweeted and said, The left is literally trying to claim the expression "bring back manly men" is an act of violence. And then she did 5 laughing, crying faces. You need your head checked, buddy. Hashtag bring back manly men. What? Then she tweeted a couple hours after that, women who objectify themselves by spreading their legs for the world are lauded as courageous. Men in ball gowns and little girls' clothing are lauded as icons. Is that the word? Lauded? L-A-U-D-E.
Lauded.
Lauded are lauded as icons. Hollywood is no longer about diversity. It's about perversity. I speak for people who do not worship perversity. I don't know what is perverse about this image. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. I think that I don't know, maybe she just loves this kind of attention, because I don't know how she could possibly even really
yes, definitely loves the attention. She's just a piece of shit. I mean, it's the same playbook that people like Ann Coulter have used for years. It's just like saying things to get people riled up and shock them. She's just a bad person. I mean, a legitimately bad person. I tweeted at her at the time, and I saw a lot of people tweet at her too. And ultimately, this is the only tweet that matters, saying, why do you care? Why the fuck do you care?
Yeah.
Seriously, how does it affect your life at all? What Harry Styles wears, or what men or boys or girls or whoever decides to wear? It makes no difference to you.
It's bizarre.
If it makes them happy, why do you give 2 shits? Seriously,
why do you care if I'm on
fucking
OnlyFans?
Ridiculous. And the manly men, like that's a complete societal construct. There's no such thing as a manly man. If you're a man, you're a man. That's it. Period. There's no more manly or less manly. That's just all it is. And that is spreading hate. What she's doing is spreading hate and inciting people to hate and look at people as different when they're not. They're just being themselves. Ben Shapiro doing the same thing. I also saw Ben Shapiro tweeted some nonsense about like Christmas movies with lesbians in it. Like, fuck do you care, Ben Shapiro? You don't even care about Christmas. You're Jewish. Like, people need to just let other people live, for God's sake.
I agree with that. I do think other people need to let people live. I think it's interesting coming from literally the most judgmental person in the world, hearing you say that.
Not about that stuff.
Okay. Well, my OnlyFans is launching tomorrow, so thank you for your support in advance. All right. Let's go back to the Streamlabs for a second. Glenn Caesar says, Roxy Haskell 420 said, I tweeted you the clip. What clip are you talking about? The Kate Bishop clip? Let me know. LD in here. LD123 says, OMG, sorry, Texas teacher, for talking bad about you. You seem so nice, and thank you for taking the time to help me out. That's so sweet. I wish you were not just a face on a screen and you were a rock star so we could have met. Glad you are sober. Oh, it's so sweet. We've reconciled with LD and Texas teacher. Back, all things, all love, all good. I'm so happy that we were able to do that here on this show today. It makes me very excited. Pink Sweets with the real question of the day. We know that the rock stars have talked about this controversy since the Nazis came on the show. Shapiro, Jewish or white? We'll never know because he cannot be both. This is what we learned from our Nazi friends.
I didn't know that.
Can't even put Nazi and friends in the same sentence without trying to not smile. Oof, boy. Sir Joker 40 in the house. What's up, Sir Joker? He says, Roxy, hi BFFR. Hello, Jet Good, sir. Roxy, still waiting at the airport for you. It's been like a week. Dinner's cold now. Hashtag Team East Coast. Hashtag New York Strong. Stay phenomenal. Sir Joker and I were supposed to have Thanksgiving together, but I stood him up in New York. It's so sad.
What's BFFR?
Best friend forever, Roxy.
Oh, you think the R stands for Roxy?
Okay. What
I'm asking. No, I don't know.
It's like Biffer. Like
Biffer.
No?
For after.
Oh, boy. Thank you, Jake, for throwing this back in here. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Let's move forward, but let me know in the comments, in the chat, in the Streamlabs, all of that stuff, what you guys think about Harry Styles bringing back manly men. Do you like that he posted that? Was a good sly bit of revenge at Candace and at Ben? Let me know. Let's move to Star Wars, as we say here in Boston. Star Wars. How would you say it? Boston accent, go.
I don't have a Boston accent.
If you did, oh.
I don't think many people have a Boston accent that is the stereotypical Boston accent, so I shan't.
Okay, that's fun. Anakin was possibly supposed to be in The Last Jedi instead of Yoda. This was actually really cool to see because I don't know if you guys noticed this for those of you guys who looked at this thread, but it was started by Liz Shannon Miller, who is a friend of ours. Liz Shannon Miller at Collider, Liz Shannon Miller on Schmodown, Liz Shannon Miller, who's popping up at the Nerd Space all the time, tweeted out saying, silly question, did at Ryan Johnson personally title Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi, or was that title handed to him? Ryan Johnson responded to that and said, it was me, had it very early in the writing process. Then Adam Lance Garcia said, follow up, what was the latest thing you added in the writing process? Don't need to be specific. Ryan Johnson responded and said, boy, that's hard to remember. Like with any movies, you're adding and changing all the way until you lock the edit, and many of the scenes evolved in rehearsals, working with the actors. Then in response to that, Darth Boring, which is a great name, asked if he ever considered Anakin's ghost showing up to speak with Luke in The Last Jedi. And this was really, really exciting. I don't know, Jet, if you are as big of an Anakin fan as I am. Actually, I do know, and you are not. But I was really like on the edge of my seat looking for this. And he said, briefly for the tree burning scene, but Luke's relationship was with Vader, not really Anakin, which seemed like it would complicate things more than that moment allowed. Yoda felt like the more impactful teacher for that moment. So that was his response to whether or not he ever considered Anakin's ghost showing up to speak with Luke and or Rey. What do you think about this, Jet? Do you wish that Anakin was in the scene instead of Yoda? Do you think that you wish that he was in the scene in addition to Yoda? Do you think Anakin had no place in this movie? Were you excited to hear that he was the one who actually picked The Last Jedi? What are your thoughts on Ryan Johnson in this?
I will start by saying I love The Last Jedi and think Ryan Johnson's a genius, and I really, really get up in arms with all the hate that he gets and all the hate that movie gets. I think that movie is incredible. It's my favorite of this most recent trilogy. It's up there with my favorite Star Wars movies of all time. I think it's fantastic.
I love it as well.
It's everything I love about Star Wars. So I don't understand the hate for it. I think it's ridiculous. So I'm happy with the choice that he made for Yoda. It makes more sense to me too. I totally agree that Luke's relationship was with Darth Vader. It was only very briefly with Anakin as he was dying, and if he were to reappear as Anakin as the Hayden Christensen version, which, by the way, he's a terrible actor and wasn't good in that role.
In the perfect pick. Okay.
No. And Luke wouldn't recognize him. He never saw him as Anakin other than when he looked like a burnt egg at the end of Return of the Jedi. So
you don't think he would say, "It's me, Anakin"?
I feel like the fact that you have to clarify who you are makes it less of an impactful choice. So I think Yoda was Luke's teacher and mentor. It was going to have to be Kenobi or Yoda to make the most sense. And Yoda knew a lot more about the history and the legacy of the Jedi because he was older than Kenobi. So I think that was the right choice. Where I would have liked to see Anakin appear would have been the planned final sequence that they had in the original script for what was called Duel of the Fates and then got reworked into The Rise of Skywalker. They were going to have like a final battle with like Palpatine and all the Jedi Force ghosts were going to be there. And I did think Hayden Christensen as Anakin was going to reappear in that movie. I went into it thinking I was going to see him. So I was a little disappointed that I didn't. And I think that would have been more impactful and sort of brought it all full circle from the prequel trilogy to the Rey trilogy. But if the question is just about Ryan Johnson, The Last Jedi, and Yoda appearing instead of Anakin, I think he nailed it. It makes most sense. I think his explanation is also perfect that Luke, for 3 movies, his relationship or his only really interaction was with Darth Vader, and he wasn't really ever a teacher or a mentor for Anakin. Yoda was, and Kenobi was.
I think that I agree with a lot of people in the chat right now. Saul saying Luke saw Hayden Christensen at the end of Return of the Jedi. Also in here.
Yeah, but he saw him after they digitally put in Hayden Christensen. Originally, it wasn't Hayden Christensen.
That doesn't make any sense, Jet. Legoland says, wouldn't they recognize each other via the Force? I think that's completely fair as well. And I don't think it would be that much of a stretch of the imagination to go there. I'm not saying that I would have preferred him over Yoda because I actually really liked Yoda in these moments. And I always love Yoda. But as somebody who's such a Hayden Christensen stan, him showing up in this movie would have brought it from close. I love this movie too. You and I are on the exact same page about this film. I believe it's probably my fourth favorite Star Wars movie. I love, love, love this movie. Might even be my third favorite Star Wars movie, to be honest.
What are your other three? I'm curious.
Well, let me just finish what I'm saying, and then maybe we can go to that.
Okay.
What was I saying? Whatever. I love this movie, and I think that it didn't need Anakin, but would the fangirl in me, the person who is obsessed with Hayden Christensen, been so excited? Yes, but I will be just equally as excited if we see Hayden Christensen show up in any of the Disney Plus series, which I think is very realistic that he could make an appearance in. So I think that as long as we get him at some point, I just don't like that he seems to be Star Wars is like dirty little secret. Like they treat him like he's Jar Jar Binks, and he's not. Like, why are we never referencing him? Why does he never get to show up? Why is he always the last pick? And I get the answer to that is because you guys don't like him, but I don't understand that part.
Because he was a shitty actor, and I've said this before. 75% of it is he was not a good actor. 25% of it is George Lucas can't write dialogue. He just can't write dialogue at all. He's terrible at it. But you as an actor, you kind of have to power through that. I mean, you would acknowledge that, right? Even if you get bad dialogue, you can put in a better performance.
Mm-hmm.
He was just so stiff and wouldn't. But I think that he's not Star Wars' dirty little secret. It's just Darth Vader and Anakin get referenced all the time. It's just Hayden Christensen specifically. I'd argue that Jar Jar Binks' performance was better than his performance.
That's an absolute ludicrous thing to say. To answer your previous question, my favorite is Empire Strikes Back. After that, I believe my next favorite is A New Hope. And then I think it might be Last Jedi. I think it might be. The original trilogy all are in my top 4. But that's
Not Rogue
where I
One.
land. No, I like Rogue One though.
I love Rogue One.
What are your top 3?
Empire, Return of the Jedi, and Last Jedi kind of alternate.
So between top 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And I Rogue One and New Hope are like equal to. I loved Rogue One. That is the best Darth Vader scene in any of the Star Wars movies, in my opinion.
It is really phenomenal. Leave the comments below. Leave your comment on what are your top 3 favorite Star Wars movies. And do you wish that Anakin made an appearance in The Last Jedi? Were you excited to hear that Rian Johnson picked the name of the actual movie? And how do you feel about everything going on in the world of Star Wars? Moving forward, let's talk a little bit about, instead of Disney, a Warner Brothers project, Wonder Woman, which I haven't even really spoken to you that much about, Jet, which is going to be released not just in theaters, but also on digital on Christmas. It's coming to HBO Max, and they came out today saying it's going to be the first movie streaming in 4K on HBO Max. Does this make any kind of difference to you, Jet?
Not really. I think HD is so good now, and 1080p or whatever the hell you have, everything. So it's hard for me to tell the difference now, but unless it's something that's an SD. So I get for like tech nerds and people like that, that little bit of improved quality makes a difference to them. But what's going to make me enjoy the movie most is that if it has a good plot and if it's fun to watch, the quality of the picture isn't going to enhance my viewing experience that much more. I'm really excited that it's coming out on Christmas. It gives me something to do. I think it looks awesome for the trailers. I really love the first Wonder Woman. I do feel a little bit bad for Gal Gadot and the whole team that they didn't get their big, huge theatrical release.
I feel bad for them too. I think this was not the right move, but now that it is the move, I am supporting it. And Patty Jenkins was the one who tweeted this out about the 4K. So that's something. It means that she's at least on board enough to make that tweet. I don't know when things are in 4K, to be honest, and this is not a popular opinion. I often, when you buy things and you can buy them for cheaper in SD instead of HD, I often do that still. So
Yeah, I can't do SD.
That's about as little as I tend to care about some of those things. But again, I know I'm in the vast minority about that. Going into the Streamlabs for a second, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Glenn Caesar says, I'm assuming Haskell 420 meant he sent you Hailee Steinfeld's Kate Bishop and Hawkeye clip. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what he meant too. Apollo 3JP in the house says, Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, Apollo. How's it going with Steph? You making any headway? Let us know. Jake Yakavetta, my amazing moderator, says, my list is number 1, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, Return of the Jedi. Number 3, Revenge of the Sith. Number 4, A New Hope. Number 5, The Last Jedi. Number 6, Solo. Number 7, Force Awakens. Number 8, Rogue One. 9, Rise of Skywalker. 10, Clone Wars. 11, Phantom Menace. 12, Attack of the Clones. What do you think about that list?
Attack of Clones is the worst one. I agree with that.
Okay, so you and my brother are on the same page, Jake. Good to know. Redford Reddington said, Last Jedi wasted Finn's potential and turned him into a sidekick. Rose got too much screen time, and it started the downfall of the sequel trilogy. That was a waste of a lot of potential. I don't know about Rose getting too much screen time. Oh boy.
This is a common argument I see with it, that it wasted Finn's potential, and I do think the weakest part of The Last Jedi is that it gave Finn sort of a storyline that ended up not mattering all that much. He did get
not necessarily Rian Johnson's fault, though.
No, not necessarily Rian Johnson's fault.
Payoff for that, but yes,
he didn't. That is the weakest part of the movie. I will acknowledge that, but I think that if you're talking about the overarching themes of Star Wars and the Skywalker saga, I think he played it perfectly. I mean, we could do hours and hours talking about this movie because of some people just love it and some people loathe it. But I think that the message in that movie was the best part about Star Wars, which is that anybody can have the Force. It can come from anywhere, even if you're just a scavenger in a desert and your parents abandon you. The galaxy is much bigger than just one family. And I love that messaging.
Retconned. Yeah.
And then it was essentially retconned in the Rise of Skywalker, which I didn't like.
But I don't want to keep having the same debate over and over again because I do it all the time. Third Joker 40 says the R stands for Roxy. It's wicked awesome. That's what I thought, Sir Joker. That's what I thought. If you guys are having any questions, comments, concerns, things you want read out loud, go to streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Get those in now, as we are going to be wrapping out the show in the next 10 minutes. Let's talk a little politics on the show because we haven't done that in a second. By a second, I mean probably in about 3 days, so that's a lot for us. Obama was cautioning people against saying defund the police. This was really interesting. Obama doesn't actually typically speak much about the BLM movement. I read an article at the beginning of pandemic that talked about, or Winston Marshall actually was one who came on and informed us that Obama had never said the words Black Lives Matter, which was really interesting to learn early on during the movement. And he doesn't typically open up about this kind of stuff. However, there is an interview that is coming out with him. It has not been aired yet that apparently is going to reveal some of his thoughts on this. And this was a quote that we got from it saying, I guess you can use a snappy slogan like defund the police, but you lost a big audience the minute you say it, which makes it a lot less likely that you're actually going to get the changes you want done. That's from Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, and CNN was the one that published this article. Jet, what do you think about this? What do you think in general about the slogan defund the police, not the actual concept, but the slogan defund the police? And do you agree with Barack Obama that slogan might be turning people off who would otherwise be interested or agreeing with the cause?
Yeah, I definitely think that he has a great point there, and it's a point that I fully agree with. I think it did turn a lot of people off because I think a lot of people don't understand what defund necessarily means, and that they look at it as get rid of the police or don't pay the police or something like that. It was from the get-go when people co-opted that as the messaging, it was a losing message. The idea isn't a losing idea in my mind. The messaging was what was wrong there. The defund is something that is just a hard concept for people to sort of grasp because you can't. it's not a slogan to say reallocate the funds for the police from the police partially to other aspects of society that will help them grow. Like that's just, you can't, it's too wordy. But to fund the police, people are going to look at it and said, people, oh, they just want to take money away from the police. We're not going to be as safe if the police don't have as much money, or if they get rid of the police. And to their credit, Republicans and a lot of people on the right wing were able to take the worst aspects of that slogan and spin it into people's greatest fears, which is lawlessness, getting rid of all the police. And
Right.
they controlled the narrative, as opposed to the people who came up with it. They lost control of the narrative. So while Barack Obama is not my favorite politician, and I think that he was a relatively ineffective president, I would like him to be a lot more to the left. I do fully agree with him there. I am a little surprised he hasn't said Black Lives Matter, as I believe Joe Biden has.
Absolutely, Joe Biden said it.
So it shows me.
I don't know. I haven't been paying attention. Barack might have said it in the last couple of months. I have not. I
don't know that he has certain, maybe not on the record, maybe in sort of passing. Obviously, he's black. He obviously thinks Black Lives Matter and cares about it. But I with any politician, there's a political calculus as to what he has and what his agenda has to gain and lose by saying something. Maybe he thought if he were to endorse the Black Lives Matter messaging, that it would be able to rally conservatives against him and against Joe Biden. I don't know. So I think that ultimately it's the messaging on the right does a lot better of a job than the messaging on the left. And that's been an issue.
What was fascinating about this to me as well was that this was an interview he did in a new Snapchat show that is coming out, which is just wild that that's now the state of the world. Yeah. But there is more to his statement as well. You guys can check out the whole thing. One of the things he says was the key is deciding, do you want to actually get something done, or do you want to feel good amongst the people who you already agree with? So a lot of what he was saying was, quote, it's interesting. We take for granted that if you want people to buy your sneakers, that you're going to market it to your audience. If a musician drops a record, they're going to try to reach certain audiences, speaking to folks where they are. It's no different in terms of ideas. If you believe, as I do, that we should be able to reform the criminal justice system so that it's not biased and treats everybody fairly, I guess you can use a snappy slogan like defund the police, but you you lost a big audience the minute you say it, which makes it a lot less likely that you're actually going to get the changes you want done. But if you instead said, let's reform the police department so that everybody being treated fairly, divert young people from getting into crime. And if there was a homeless guy, can maybe we send a mental health worker there instead of an armed unit that could end up resulting in a tragedy? Suddenly a whole bunch of folks who might not otherwise listen to you are listening to you. So the key is deciding, do you want to actually get something done, or do you want to feel good amongst the people who already agree with you? And if you want to get something done in a democracy, in a country as big and diverse as ours, then you've got to be able to meet people where they are and play a game of addition and not subtraction. Now, I think this is a very valid statement. I agree. However, similar to what you were saying a little bit, Jet, that quote that he gives, let's reform the police department so that everybody's being treated fairly, that isn't a saying. And we live in a country where people's attention spans like this of a gnat. So that's why pro-life has been so effective, because how is anybody supposed to be anti-life? They picked two words, they paired it together, and they made something so undeniable that if you are not pro-life, you're anti-life as opposed to pro-choice. And with this, I don't know what the version of that is. Should I change the police? Is not as powerful as defund the police. So I don't know what.
No, but think about the saying pro-life. That's something that was thought up in right-wing think tanks, and they spent time getting the messaging to the best of their ability to the point where it's been extremely successful messaging for them for decades now. I think what happened with the Black Lives Matter movement and the defund the police movement is that it was just grassroots people coming up with the stuff, not people who
I know that
professional at messaging.
I know you're not obviously not an entire think tank, but what I don't know that if we sat down and thought about it, that there would be a professional messaging that would come across stronger.
I do think there would be. I mean, off the top of my head, I don't have one, but it's not what I do. This is what some people do for a living, is coming up with slogans and coming up with messaging that works. Some people are extremely, extremely good at it, and it's not my area of expertise. But I have to think that there was one that would work out better than defund the police, because it's not getting the message across. So, right. and ultimately, I think it's turning away more people than it's bringing on to support the message. And if that's the case, then it's a losing battle.
Super Dan in here says demilitarize the police would be a much better slogan than defund. No one wants military police patrolling the streets. Yeah, but I don't even know that that's something everybody would understand what you were saying.
No, I think it's a little bit better. I agree, and I think that when you see footage of the equipment that the police have, and to subvert these riots and stuff like that, that you do realize it's it's way out of control, that they have the same ammunition and same ordinance as the military. Mm-hmm. We have the military for a reason, and we have the police for a reason. They're not the same thing. They're not the same job. The fact that police have tanks is insanity in my mind. So I do think that that's a little bit better of a message. But again, you have to look at, when you're looking at a message, you have to look at how people can subvert it, and how the opposite side will make it seem like you're not being rational the way you're thinking. And I think that when you're saying D or get rid of, that immediately raises people's arms.
A couple last minute things before we get out of here, because I do want to move on from this, but I still would love to hear your guys' opinions. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the chat, in the super chat, and the Streamlabs. Do you agree with the concept defund the police, but you don't agree with the actual slogan? Do you like the slogan? Would love to know what your thoughts are. But I do want to go back to Star Wars for a second, because in the Streamlabs, Leonard Kim is chiming in. Streamlabs.com/RoxyStrider. Get in your last minute Streamlabs, because we are getting out of here. He said, this is probably controversial, but my top 3 is Force Awakens, Rogue One, and Rise of Skywalker. However, my first Star Wars movie was Force Awakens, and I was 23 when that came out. I still haven't watched any of the older ones in their entirety either. Wow, Leonard Kim. You got to guess to watching. I can't believe that. But hey, everybody has their own.
That's fine, but I'd say if you enjoyed those, watch the originals, man. I mean,
yeah, totally.
I watch every Star Wars movie at least once a year.
Yeah, I don't do that, but I do love Star Wars. So there is that. Again, right before we get out of here, because I have you here, Jet, as the sports expert you are currently, I can't believe you're here with us instead of watching the Ravens Steelers game for Wednesday afternoon football. What do you think is going to happen in today's game, and how are you feeling about the NFL right now?
I think the Steelers will win because, one, I think they're a better team, and 2, the Ravens have had basically no opportunity to practice or feel the team, and they're starting their backup quarterback. It's so weird to have a Wednesday game. It's even weirder to have a game on a Wednesday afternoon. I don't think that's ever happened before. The last time there was a Wednesday game was Barack Obama was delivering this, bringing back to politics, the State of the Union on a Thursday, I think, and they didn't want to compete with it, so they moved the game to Wednesday.
It is so weird.
It's very strange. The Steelers kind of got, I would say the Steelers got screwed here, because the Ravens were the team with the massive outbreak, and so the Steelers did nothing wrong, and this game was supposed to be played on Thanksgiving, and now
but if they win, then does it really matter?
Yes, because they will have less prep time for their game next week.
When is their game next week?
Monday, I believe.
Okay, that's a pretty quick turnaround in terms of football stuff. So, and
the Steelers are right now undefeated, so they're trying to, every game really matters to them. And the Ravens, every game matters to them too, because they're trying to get a playoff spot. So this is a big game too. Yeah. It's not just like a crappy little game. As far as what I think that's going to happen in the NFL, I think they'll finish out the season. They don't give two shits about teams being able to field a team, players getting sick, long term, short term. They're going to finish the season.
Interception. Wow. I don't know what's happening, but I heard that the Steelers were about to score, and then I see interception. So, okay. We'll see.
I have no horse in this race. I don't like either of those teams. So.
All right. Again, going back to politics, we're all over the place on this show, but I want to get in all of these Streamlabs before we get out of here. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. Jake Yakoveta says, from Ryan Payne, I thought reform the police sounded much better than defund the police because it would make it much difficult to manipulate the narrative. It would involve talking and communicating. So
I think that's a much better slogan. That's a good one.
Reform the police. I've heard people say that, and I definitely think that that's a strong slogan as well. Mark Jason Ali in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar says, hey, Roxy, just stopping in to show support. How are you today? Agree with the defund the police ethos, but demilitarize might be better. I'm not sure. Love Star Wars. I believe the first I saw was Return of the Jedi as a child, so it's my favorite. Stay well. I love you guys all being willing to share what your favorite is, regardless of popular opinion. I appreciate that. The rock stars are non-judgmental crew, except for my brother, and we don't care what your favorite Star Wars is. As long as you don't yuck other people's yum, we're here for you. Totally.
Yuck Hayden Christensen's performance. I still love the movies.
What a great message of love to go out on. We are going to get out of here, but please remember, guys, tonight is World Girl Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We will be up with Koi Jandro as we give comic book movie rankings a whirl. We are going to come together to make a collective top 10. It's going to be a bitch. So I'm really excited to duke it out. Tomorrow, I'll be back live at Roxy as I have been here every single day for the last 263 days. Glenn, tell me how many days I've been here. But I will be up super early. Not actually super early, but early because I am going to the dentist tomorrow. So I'm leaving here at 12:15, which means I'll probably be up at 11:15 tomorrow. That is Eastern time. Sorry to you Pacific people. Either wake up and watch me or watch me whenever you wake up on that replay. Glenn lets me know that today is 262, which is totally wild. Thank you guys for joining me every single day on this show. With the guests, without the guests, by myself, in my worst moods, in my best moods. You guys are always amazing. And for showing that extra bit of support. Speaking of which, we have one more Streamlabs that just came in. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. Ryan Payne says, I'm a big believer in rewatching Star Wars films. I came around to Solo after 5 rewatches. What is the Star Wars film you've appreciated more after rewatching? Ryan, I kind of believe that you shouldn't have to rewatch a movie 5 times in order to love it. But I do think that The Last Jedi I like more and more every time I watch it because probably of people doubling down with how much they hate it. And every time I watch it, I find something even better in it that I love. So that's for me. What about you, for you, Jet?
I love The Last Jedi from the on-go, but every time I watch it, it's better. I do think Phantom Menace is actually held up pretty well, and it's better than people think. There's nothing to do with Hayden Christensen.
I just like the prequels.
I like the prequels too. I do think that if you take Jar Jar Binks out of Phantom Menace, goes from a pretty good movie to a really good movie. I
don't hate Jar Jar Binks. Come at me.
I also think Duel of the Fates from John Will is the best piece of music to come out of any Star Wars film.
Okay. Well, we are a musical duo, so
are we?
Well, like not together. But
I have a question for you. So you're 262. Are you planning to try to hit 365, or is there a plan, or just
questions we talk about on the show all the time? I'll tell you.
I don't watch the show every day. I'm sorry.
They do. I
watch every World Girls.
I will tell you all about it when we get off because it is time to leave. As you see, that clock is ticking down. If you are watching this after the fact or right now, please give that thumbs up. Give it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. I know that Spotify today showed their People's Most Listened podcast. We are new to Spotify, so I doubt we're the most listened for any of you guys, but maybe next year in 2021 we will be. So please, wherever you are, that 5-star, that thumbs up, leave a comment. It really makes a difference. And if you're watching this after the fact and you are able to support me, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. I'll read whatever it is that you guys write on the next show. Tomorrow's show, I'll get to those Apple podcast reviews. I'll read those out loud. So make sure you get those in tonight because sometimes it can take like 12 hours to process. All right. Much love, everybody in here. Don't forget about the toilet plumes. Put your, not just the seat down, the lid down. Thank you, Jake, for clarifying to me that those are 2 different things. You got to put the whole thing down. Make your bed. Stay safe. Stay sane. Thank you so much to Jet Striar for joining us today. I would ask him to plug his channel, but he doesn't know what it is. So youtube.com/Jet Striar. Go over there. He's been doing a lot more content in the sports world, in the nerd world, and all of the worlds. Anything else going on, Jet, before we get out of here?
I'm gonna watch the football game.
I meant like content wise, but okay, we'll see you guys.
I will not react to the football game.
Much love. Talk to you guys tonight on the World Girls, World Girl Wednesday, 6 p.m. See you there.